Okay, thank you very much. Nice to see everyone. Thank you, Thierry, for being here. So I'm Vincent Fournier. I lead the sales team in France for Snowflake, the media and advertising and entertainment industry. We have the pleasure to host Thierry today by chance. He's in Paris this week. Thierry is the co-founder of Snowflake and CTO, you can say that, I guess. Thierry, maybe a quick first question is, you look back at 2012, what made you create Snowflake with Benoit initially?
No, it's interesting to go back in time and see, in 2012 how the world was, how the tech world was. At the time, big data was overpraised. People wanted to push data into a place, into a single place. And at the time, we were working at Oracle. Both of us, we were architects at Oracle, making this amazing machine. We thought it was amazing machine. It was doing infinite switch, terabyte of memory, etc. And they said, shit, we are building the next mainframe. At the time, big data, all the big data platform, and we were witnessing the world passing in front of us. So we were thinking we were building the best technology in the world, the best place in the world, and the world was passing by us. And we said, okay, are we going to do something about it? Are we going to? And there was really three things that were magical for us. One was, okay, for analytic system, the cloud is a magical place because there's an infinite amount of resources, there is the elasticity of the platform, there is the new way you are accessing this data, the big data aspect of it, which is the fact that the data is coming from multiple sources of data. Pushing that into a single analytic system is actually not fair to that analytic system. And so this infinite storage that we had was amazing. And one property of the cloud is that was magical again is the ability to deliver these systems as a service. And that changed completely actually the way you develop systems, that changed the way you talk to the customer, that changed the way you are articulating the value. And so, but at the time, in 2012, 2010, 11, 12, people were saying, okay, in order to do that, you have to give up on things. You have to give up on transaction, you have to give up on security, you have to give up on data governance, you have to give up on a lot of things that we didn't want to give up. And we said, okay, we are starting to be old, we are going to prove to the world that we can do it. We can build for that new universe, which was this magical place, the cloud. And we are going to build a platform that can leverage this ability of the cloud. And that's why we decided to create Snowflake.
Great. And what do you think made Snowflake so successful, exactly on small and big companies?
I mean, yes. Why Snowflake was so successful was because it was bringing that technology, that amazing technology, the big analytic system, to two different worlds. One, to the world of big data. Today we call that data lake, but this is the ability to push data into a system without thinking about it. And the other thing that made it super successful is that you have to realize that at the time to have a big analytic system, efficient analytic system, you have to buy Exadata, you have to buy Teradata, you have to buy a super high-end system that were tuned, that were built on purpose for this. And we wanted essentially to make that technology available not to the 1% company in the world, but to all the companies. So what makes Snowflake successful is this ability to enable analytic systems, analytic services with people that have $300, $400. They start small and then they grow. And this is linked to the way you can provision these resources. So that makes Snowflake viral, actually, because you always start small and then you go very big. So a lot of our customers were small customer that grew.
Yeah, exactly. Still,
It's still working.
Some starts really small and becomes very big. And maybe back to AWS, we still we're on the move, so let's talk about them. What do you think? What role did AWS play in all that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe if AWS was not there, we would not be here. And at the time in 2012, AWS was not there either, in the sense of, but we were thinking AWS was there. We saw in AWS with infinite amount of resources, with flat network, with ability to scale, with elasticity. We believed in it. And actually, AWS was building the highway for us to drive. And it was still in 2012, we realized it was still very early. We started with a C1 machine. It was very puny machine, crappy network, etc. But the promise of AWS was fulfilled in a sense. So that's why we are here today. This illusion, not an illusion, but this magical thinking of the cloud and the articulation of the cloud is not created so in a sense.
Basically, you dreamt about it and then
they did it. They built the highway as we were driving.
That's good, but it didn't stop.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay. Maybe last question and then we transition to Siyu. What is exciting you today? I mean, you've been at the company since the very beginning and you've been in the industry for quite some time now. So what is still very exciting about Snowflake for you today?
I mean, what is exciting about Snowflake is that Snowflake started to be analytic because it was easy. Then we move into the collaboration and the organization of collaboration, both around data, both inside the company and outside the company, between companies. There was data sharing, data collaboration. And today we are in a new journey where we are going to grab application. Snowflake is moving into an application platform, data cloud platform, we call it the data cloud. We are going to push expertise inside the platform for people to actually, for a lot of companies, a lot of startups, who start to deliver expertise around data. And that's the new world. I mean, everybody knows what is the future. The future is going to be around data, the future is going to be around expertise around that data, monetizing, looking market, etc. And we are today 2% of the journey. We are at the very beginning of the journey and we are going to learn on I do believe today that Snowflake is the best platform to actually enable the two worlds.
I do believe it too. Thank you very much, Thierry. Then I'll see you very soon. See you. So, see you. After Thierry, you have to do at least as well.
Well, we are two heroes, and obviously it's nice questions. It's interesting to know the history of how Snowflake scale up, and if AWS is building the highway, Snowflake is car, then we are the passengers in the car, drive along with that, and hopefully we reach the speed that we can take off, right?
I hope so. We'll work on that. Siyu, so I mean, you lead the data science and global data science and analytics team at Gameloft. Maybe we can start by just giving a little bit of background around Gameloft and your role there.
Yeah, definitely. Starting with Gameloft, the company with Gameloft is a 20+ year-old veteran in the mobile gaming domain, and more recently, Gameloft is heading towards cross-platform games as well. We release game like our top-tier game, Asphalt 9. Right now, all our players can play in all the different devices, Switch, Xbox, and all the platforms. It's a new challenge for us, but it's a fun direction. And I'm Siyu. I come from China. I live in Paris right now, and with the Gameloft headquarters. I used to work at Blizzard as well, another gaming company, and before that I was with Booking.com. So I've always been in the data science domain. I started my job where data science is not even something you can search in the market. Like Snowflake, the story is similar. Throughout the years, I've also seen how the tools are evolving so quickly, right? Snowflake right now is of course very heated tool, but no one knows about the next disruptive tooling coming up. So I'm happy with the journey, and it's quite exciting every day, the different challenges in the data science part with a gaming company.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about that journey at Gameloft, since you joined, of course, but maybe even before that?
Yeah, so I'm almost 5 years at Gameloft right now. Gameloft is an interesting concept that Gameloft always believe is building things by our own. So just at the time that I joined, we don't use any third-party data warehouse. We don't use any commercial tools regarding data. We have our own in-house data warehouse. And how to access data, you need to go to a developer, and then the developer writes a specialized query, and that is built by our internal library as well, and then get the data to the people who ask for it. And what if the people realize, I asked for the wrong data, I actually need another column, then you need to reach out again. This back and forth is really pain point and bottleneck at that time. And of course, for me that come from Booking and Blizzard, I realized, oops, this is not where we want to go. Otherwise, we will be so slow making decisions based on data. So just like 5 years ago, we started looking to the market, okay, what are other companies are using, and doing the RFP and talk with different companies. And we ended up deciding to use Snowflake, and also at that time start to think about, okay, we need to choose our cloud partnership as well, and AWS obviously has very attractive features and different offers to fulfill our needs. So that's how we start to, okay, let's build out the core of our data foundation, data infrastructure, and then think about all the components around our core stack that we can help us with all the different needs we have.
And what's the rest of the stack? I mean, maybe it's interesting for the audience.
Oh yeah, of course. So we're a gaming company, but we also do a lot of marketing activities like user acquisition. Is a core part of our business. On that part, there's a lot of data that not naturally that ended up in our data warehouse. Is there in with Google, with Facebook, with all the different network and channels. So we need a tool that help us to bring all this data into a place, into AWS, into Snowflake, and we choose a third party that does exactly that. And 2 years ago, we started to ask ourselves, okay, but we have so many data there. There's players data, there's marketing data, but nobody really knows how do they ended up into the tables, into the columns, fields. Nobody even understands. So I have a question to answer, but it's so hard for me to find what data do I have, can I use it, how can I use it. So we realized, okay, what we lack is a concept. Okay, we started asking ourselves and doing big research. What about we need data lineage? What about we need data catalog? And can we observe the healthiness of our data? We start to ask ourselves questions, and we start to investigate, okay, what's all the market are the open source tools that can do that? And obviously at that time, DBT just start to become more popular. They're not yet that mature in the commercial part yet, but the open source tool works great. Data orchestration, Airflow works okay, it has its pros and cons. And we start to combine the pros and cons of all the different tools. We ended up making very good choices with open source tools like GPT Airflow and this data hub for catalog as well. But we're also considering other third-party tools that maybe they have better maintenance, better support. We don't really need to rely on our internal data engineers to always, on call and maintain the tools. And it's more like an agile style. Maybe next year we will have a new need, and then we need to research again on the market. Now, what better with Snowflake and AWS together? I think that's like the foundation how we chose those tools.
All right. From a team perspective, people perspective, what's the team? What it looks like? I mean, how big is it? What kind of profiles do they have?
Yeah, the team part is always a changing question, right? I said like 10 years ago there's no data science role. Right now there's always new roles, and just last year we started to hire this new role called analytics engineer, and it's new roles. You start to create those positions. You start to think about, okay, going to be the job description, what's the core skills the person needs to get. But in the end, we have three categories of our data teams. There's data engineer, there's data scientist, and we also have BI engineer who are more working on the data visualization side, the reporting and dashboarding. But it's always changing, and it's also important for me to keep ahead of what other companies are hiring for the positions they need, why they're hiring that, how that is helping our business as well.
Especially because you're global also, so you need to have the best talent when,
Yes, indeed, and basically everyone in the data team needs to know how to use, for example, Snowflake, and I think there's still a bit of advanced features there we're yet to explore, but that's also why we always want to keep updates what's next with Snowflake. Last year you have the Python feature, and you have more functionalities there. We're yet to explore more. Yeah,
I need to do so. What are the main data use cases? I mean, the main use case for data in Gameloft right now?
Right now, if I could think about like two always important use cases at Gameloft, one is how can we optimize experience for our players and do more personalization for our players. If our players come to our games for different reasons. Even for a racing game like Asphalt 9, some people enjoy the feeling of almost win or almost lose, right? And how to tune the difficulties level there for our players that they can feel excited, they can have the excitement after the game, rather than if you win 3 games so easily. I mean, that game is not really exciting, or if you always lose and that's too hard to do, you will just give up. So finding that optimum point where we can keep our players stay with the game and find the excitement they can do, and of course improve their skill at one point, is one of the key mission of data science team, to find that optimal level and the balance and compromise. Another top use case is on our marketing performance, because marketing is always hard when it comes to post-privacy era, right? Privacy is very important for everyone right now. We wouldn't get to know who comes from where, but we need to find a model to still guide our marketing team. If we have $1,000 to spend, where do we want to spend? We want to spend, with a TikTok influencer campaign, or with a more programmatic ads that drive people to click that ads and install our game. So those are the two top use cases at Gameloft.
I guess measure ROI and possibility. What do you predict what will happen, and how do you actually measure it afterwards?
Yes, measure the ROI, and one step further to measure the ROI is to measure the incremental ROI. Like, if we don't spend, we still get players install our game, right? So if we are going to spend, we need to see that incremental coming in, and that's the hard part.
What do you see as the next use cases you're going after?
There is this constant challenge that we see with this year especially. There's more generic AI content coming up. There's people trying different things, especially with content creation. Before, when you build a creative, when you start to think about the creation of a brand new game, most of the time is spent with the artist, with the game designer, and you need to iterate so many times until you get the final piece of artwork in the game. Today, we are helping out our game lab team, so the creation team, with new ways of batch create a lot of content, but they need to. There's still a lot of manual input there, and even after that batch creation, how to translate and convert that into form that is usable. That's the difficult part. And I think that's probably the future of game creation, especially for casual game, small scale game. A lot of things can be automated, and you perfectly get a lot from the tools, the AI tools out there.
Especially, I guess, for casual gaming.
All the casual part, not yet AAA, not yet the large scale multiplayer games where I think the system is more complex and let AI handle that. Yeah.
You mentioned privacy challenges, the challenges around privacy. Do you see any of the challenges if we still talking about AI, for example, in terms of balancing some of the optimization or personalization that you can make? Do you see any limit that you're fixing that you don't want to go after?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of ethical topics around AI application or more like machine learning application. We're not there yet in AI decisions. It's the ethical parts we need to always keep in mind is, let me take one example. In the gaming industry, we always talk about dynamic pricing. Okay, people have different affordability. They enjoy different things in the game. There are like 200 items in the game that you can buy, but you only want to buy the thing that gives you the most value. If we know that matters the most to you, maybe you are willing to pay a bit more for that than others. But this is one direction that we decide not to go actually at Gameloft. If the price is going to be different, the quantity, the content, the units inside that bundle needs to be different as well. Needs to be exactly the same unit price that you go. And there's always this balance between, if you want to go one edition, you also need to think about your community, your player experience, especially your long-term player experience. I mean, focus on short-term, yes, maybe you can earn a bit of 5% increase. I focus on long-term players, communities. Their voice also matters, and it matters to the ranking, the score, the image of that particular game. And you want to build out that image, and that's the most difficult thing to maintain, and that's a long-term game.
Yeah, I guess about the way concept and how much some companies are pushing this concept, because there is some limit needs to be there. Gameloft is going to put a limit.
Yeah, and I mean, if you put the players in first place, you will realize what they need, and it's not about more expensive or more cheaper. It's about they can get the value, they can get something out of the game. That's the important part.
At the beginning, you mentioned the transition of Gameloft from a nearly purely mobile gaming company to like a cross-platform company. What's the role of your team today in this transition?
Yeah, so before we have the transition, players' identity is quite simple to us. Either you have an Android device, you have an iPhone, you use Windows. Okay, it's all very simple. So we never really have a sophisticated ID graph or account system for our players. However, if you move to cross-platform, you want to resume your same progress of the game in different platforms. If you play Switch, you don't want to start from scratch if you're already at level 100 with your iPhone, right? So this is important for us to think about that. However, rely purely on the device ID, that's no longer possible. So we need to think about and build a system around that to collect the data from our players if they want to opt in, so that they could enjoy the benefits of seeing their progress in different platforms. And to build that, there's a lot of regulations around that because it's personal data, and it's very sophisticated to handle that. And the role of our team is to make sure that when we know you are connected to this ID, we give you exactly the same progress, the same experience as you are with other platforms. Hence, all the machine learning models around you is around you, the player, not around your iPhone, not around your Android phone, not around your Switch.
What do you see, as the main, maybe technical or even organizational challenges to actually deliver that?
I think the first challenge part is the opt-in rate, right? We cannot, we do not want to force every single of our player to register a Gameloft ID, right? However, we want them to do that, so that we need to show them what's the value, what's the benefit if you do that. What can be something that you miss out if you don't do that, right? There obviously need to be incentive around that part, and we are building upon that. And hopefully our opt-in rate is high enough for us to continue a model based on player identity rather than based on device identity. Yeah.
We'll come back to the trust that the players we have with you, the long-time players, and lost to adapt to this. Because building this trust is key in getting this opt-in, getting this better experience.
Yeah, and we're not alone in the journey. I mean, we have other partners, like people do not always need to connect to a Gameloft ID. They could connect their Facebook, iPhone, you have your account as well. You can connect different accounts and we can still recognize you. But to build the ecosystem and to think like long term, think more 3 years into the future, starting right now for us to have this Gameloft ecosystem is very important.
question we did not prepare. Do you see a role? I mean, this is a ever-evolving ecosystem in the gaming industry. I mean, you talk about the devices, we talk about the ecosystem, I mean, the platforms, we call that. Do you see the collaboration as a key subject, data collaboration, data sharing, I mean, being able to have a smoother exchange around data? Do you see that as a trend, I mean, for you in particular and for your company? And where do you stand in the journey?
Yeah, right now we do start to face some challenges because for Gameloft, not only we have games that we develop ourselves and publish ourselves, we also have our subsidiary companies. So those companies, when Gameloft start to purchase them, they use completely different data sets. Like they use other tools. They might even have their in-house tools, right? They have a lot of data in silo or in different spaces. So that mission is quite hard if we don't have a place that they can easily plug in and they can easily share back, to have everything in the same place. Because at one point we need to know if our system can work for every single game and not just the game using exactly the same technology behind the tracking solutions that are totally different. So we need to think and prepare for that part to happen because we don't want to limit our company as in, okay, we only develop games using our system because the landscape of mobile game and game is always changing. We have different companies merged together, and we see a lot last year and the year before. It's always changing, so on data parts, everyone is preparing for that. If we don't have the right technology, we ended up with even two games belong to the same company, they cannot share data. They cannot learn from each other. They cannot leverage the player base, the audience base to each other. So it's going to be an advantage for companies who have that and prepare for that.
Last question. What are the main innovations you're going after right now, either in the sales or something else?
I believe is on the creation part, it's on the content creation. Is that we can have a system that can automate more of those content creation that generating automatically from AI or from our creation teams ideas, their prompt engineering ideas, to have a system for that. Right now, things are pretty manual, and that if we can automate a lot of parts, it can save a lot of time from teams, and they can focus on other things that you cannot actually automate. You cannot actually use a model to replace that. So that's our next challenge. That is a big one.
Thank you very much, Siyu.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for listening. See you soon.